want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then, what is this? Says squeeze a quarter-size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And man, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day. Right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels, and welcome to an earlier version of the Millionaire Morning Show. What up? I see my people. I didn't even make no announcement. I said I'm going to just wing it and see how I play out. Let me tell y'all why I decided to do it at 11 o'clock Eastern instead of 12 p.m. or 11:45 a.m. Eastern is because I have to take my daughter to the airport. Yes, I have to take my daughter to the airport. And so I had to take care of business and be on top of things. And I had to move the show up an hour earlier, so that means that I had to prepare. And you guys know that we did the live stream last night, so that was absolutely lit. And we got it in. So before I read the super chats, before I do any of the housekeeping, let me say that being an entrepreneur is something different. It's in a completely different animal. And after you do it for so long, you get used to it. But I don't think people really understand what they're getting themselves into. And a lot of this conversation that I'm having with you guys right now is inspired by a lot of the review videos that we've been doing over the last few days, over the last few Millionaire Morning shows, over the last couple of weeks. And I see these people and they keep saying, oh man, I want to quit my job and I want to go off and do my own thing and I want to finesse it and wake up when I want to. Man, don't you know that it's 10 times harder that you own 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter what happens when you decide that you want to open up your own business? Don't you know how difficult it is for people to be disciplined enough to get rich? And just because you open up your own business does not mean that you're going to get rich. You know, a lot of the videos that I'm starting to see in my algorithm nowadays is people saying stuff like, oh man, I tried it. I messed up. I wasn't successful. I mean, I've seen some big YouTubers, some massive YouTubers that have brought themselves back to the front of the congregation and say, hey man, I tried to open up this new business and I failed miserably. Or different content creators or people that have large platforms and large followings that have 196, 200,000, 300,000 subscribers. And they're like, yo, I tried to do content creation full time and I failed miserably. Today, we're going to review a video of a woman that said that she moved to London. And I tried not to watch too much of the video, but I wanted to make sure that it was worthy of us reviewing towards the end of the show. And I guess she tried to go into content creation full time, have close to 200,000 subscribers, and then she wound up moving back home. And so a lot of people don't really know what they're getting themselves into. There is no one-size-fits-all solution to what success is supposed to look like when it comes to making money. The goal is to make money. That's the end of the, like, y'all could talk about the ownership. Y'all could talk about working your own business, doing a 9 to 5. The way that I'm able to figure out which path I want to go to or what I want to do as far as adding in another source of income, I'm not a serial entrepreneur because I want to be a serial entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur because that's what's convenient for my lifestyle and how I've Tetrised this puzzle of what makes sense in order for me to generate the most revenue possible while still adding value into the people's lives. So, Anton, why do you still work a regular job, right? Which I'm not on today because I took a PTO. And that feeds directly into my point. I took a PTO day today because I knew that I had a whole lot to do because I got to go fly down to a whole nother city because I got to take my daughter to the airport today and I'm supposed to meet. Rita is already out and about shopping and out of town doing her thing. So, you know, she's going to fly directly from where she is and she's going to meet my daughter over somewhere. And then I got to fly over to somewhere. And so, you know, this whole thing of making sure that the family is taken care of and all of that. And then so I'm like, well, I got a lot to do today so I can make some adjustments from an entrepreneurial perspective and I can move some stuff around. But when it comes to deadlines and things, taking care of business on corporate America, is certain meetings I'm not going to be able to attend. So you wind up taking a PTO day or whatever like that. And my point is just that you got to weigh what your lifestyle is supposed to be like before you start to have the conversation about whether or not you want to get away from corporate or if you want to start your own business. It's plenty of people that have gotten rich or become millionaires as a result of working a regular job. I know people that make over $300,000, $400,000 a year in corporate America. And if they go out on their own, or I know other people that went out on their own doing the same thing, working 10 times harder and making less than a third of the money. And so you can grandstand on all of that. Oh my God, but it's my own business. Man, forget all of that. I wish I could say the real word. Forget all of that. The goal is to generate as much revenue as possible. Try to figure out how I can keep the most of it as possible. Lower my lifestyle and then deploy that capital into things that ultimately is going to generate revenue and then compound over a period of time to make you really rich so you can live the life that you want to. I don't care whether it come from corporate or whether it come from business. I just want to make sure that I get it. I want to make sure that I increase the value of my time that I'm trading in for resources. I want to make sure that I add as much as I possibly can into the day so that my 12 hours, my 10 hours that that I'm working relentlessly on a daily basis, that I'm getting the most out of it, so that when I decide that I want to go out and break out, or I want to buy a car, or I want to go and have fun, then I can do what I want to do. I'm not caught up on the semantics of it's your own business or this is corporate America. Listen, the pros and cons, it weighs on both sides. Let me give you an example. As an entrepreneur, you don't get no days off. Whatever happens, happens. In corporate America, you can do PTOs and stuff like that. On the flip side, in corporate America, I have a particular salary, right? And then I get bonuses and equity depending on my performance and the performance of the company and all of that, depending on how you negotiate it and how far up you are in corporate America. But here in the entrepreneurial world, you don't work, you don't eat. It's pretty much guaranteed on that side. It's not on this side. But on that side, I also get healthcare coverage, life insurance, dental, vision, 401k, all of that stuff. Whenever and of course you can go and you can spend extra money and spend an egregious amount of money in order to go and buy it for yourself as an entrepreneur. But my point is that it's pros and cons to both. It's pros and cons. You get that guaranteed paycheck every single week or bi-weekly or monthly or however it is that you got it set up. On this side, you eat what you kill. So your lifestyle may be set up to where you're a little bit lazier and you might want to get up when you want to. Well, guess what? That's not how it works when it comes to a capitalistic market, because yeah, you can wake up when you want to, but it's not guaranteed that the customers are still going to be there, because somebody may have got up before you and beat you to the punch, which then incentivized you to get up earlier. Now you working 10 times harder than you thought that you was going to be working in order to get this thing off the ground, and you ain't even guaranteed to be successful. Then you got the tax stuff, and then you got all this other stuff, right? And so you got to deal with employees. It's different working as an employee and being a lazy numbskull versus having to hire people, and then you don't know whether or not this person is doing their jobs. You put in checks and balances. If anything happens, it comes back to you. It don't come back to the employee. So it's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot that it really makes sense. But ultimately, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that the sum total in the game is to generate as much revenue as possible. I don't care if you're in corporate. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur. Generate as much revenue as possible. Deploy that capital by minimizing your expenses and investments, and then ultimately letting assets accumulate over a period of time that will compound and then make you incredibly rich, and you can live the life that you want to. I don't care where it comes from. As long as it's legal, as long as it's not hurting nobody, as long as it adds value into people's lives, and as long as I can take care of my business, make sure that my daughter ain't got to have no student loans, and I can minimize my taxes, I'm good with that. I'm 100% good with that. And then, at some point you get to a point in your life where you're starting to try to figure out, what is the meaning of life? Because once you get to a certain level of resources, how much more do you need in resources unless you're trying to accomplish a particular goal? And then life starts to get a little bit different then, because then you can enjoy things a little bit differently. But all I'm saying is, be careful with what your mindset is when it comes to whether or not you want to work, you don't want to work. We all grind. We all hustle. We all go and get it. We all got the same 24 hours, 8,760. Remember that number, 8,760. That's the amount of hours in a year. Take how much you make per year, divided by 8,760. That's how you know how much your time is worth. So when you go and you trade in your time for money, that's what it's costing you. When you go and hang out with chicks that ain't best for you, that's what it's costing you. When you go out there and you spend a whole bunch of money and you spend a bag on a chick, well, think about how many hours you had to trade in order to be able to get that resource so that you can trick off all for a quick, It may not necessarily be worth it. Everything is a mathematical equation. No matter what you do, it's a mathematical equation. Your time is worth X based off of how much you generate divided by the amount of hours in a year. That's how much an hour of your time is worth. So when you spending time around people that ain't add value into your life, ask yourself this question: is costing me an hour to sit in front of your face or for you to be wasting my time? That's how I determine what it is that I'm going to charge for a coaching call. I don't maximize based off of how much I can make or how much my time is truly worth. All I ask you to do is cover me so that I could be doing something more productive. I could be hanging out with my daughter. I could be taking care of business. I could be trying to increase the value of my time. I minimize the amount of money that I make because I always want to add value into people's lives because the people is my currency. And as long as I help the people, my goal is to make this earth as a better place had I not been here, right? And so when I charge people in corporate, is much different than when I charge you for a coaching call because all I ask you to do is to respect my time. I know how much my time is worth, and I don't even charge that. So then when you call me and you say, Anton, I want a coaching call, and then you late to your coaching call, it's disrespectful because I don't need that. I'm doing this for you, and all I ask you to do is to respect my time. I don't even charge you what I charge corporate clients, not even remote. I don't even charge you a fourth of what I charge corporate clients. And I offset that by being able to offer you so much value. But when you don't respect yourself, see, most people are lazy, and it's going to be a reflection of every single thing that you do. You're going to show up to work late. You're going to show up to a coaching call late. You're going to show up to your funeral late. You're going to show up to church late, dinner late, graduations late. Your life is a late excuse. You've been saying that your dog ate your homework and your grandma done died 169 times. It died in high school, died in college because you ain't got your college paper on time, died in your corporate job, died when you was dating that chick and you ain't really want to tell her the truth. So you said that your grandma died. Listen, man, listen. We about to be getting about business. It's May. We about to go into June. We about to really hit the second half of the year. If you're not motivated, if you can't go and get it, if you ain't about that business, if you ain't taking care of your business and your responsibilities, then you need to really, really do a reset, have a come to Jesus moment, and then realize that ain't nobody coming to save you except for you. I had a conversation with a guy yesterday, and he said, Anton, who was on a coaching call. He said, I want to book my son a coaching call. I said, man, F your kid. He said, huh? I said, F your kid, bruh. He said, why? I said, because he's not ready for it. You know why I don't try to tell people that they need to get saved or they need to move over to spirituality? We're going to get into the show. Let me just get my thoughts off real quick. You know why I don't tell people that they need to go over and adopt Christ and get saved and profess and get baptized and all of that? It's because my life should be the attraction. Your light is supposed to shine where people ultimately ask, what's up with you? What do you have? How did you get there? They have to get curious about it because they need to see you living it. So I don't always have to profess it. It just is supposed to be a reflection of me, which inspires you to then get curious about it because God is to be revealed. And it's the same thing in everything else. When you want success, that's something that you have to seek. That's why we make it a barrier to entry to be able to tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. So because I understand that when people are ready, they will make the adjustment, but it's not until they get tired of being in a circumstance to where they will then make that decision. You as a parent can't book a coaching call for your kid. If your kid ain't curious, if your kid ain't tired, if your kid ain't absolutely frustrated with where they are in life, which is one of the reasons why it's important for men to suffer, they will never take the advice because they feel like you pushing it on them, except instead of them seeking it out for themselves because they actually are going to implement it. When you force people to get something, they feel entitled. They feel like they owe you something. I'm doing you a favor by taking this coaching call. Let them suffer. Let him suffer. And the more that you coddle him, the more that you take care of him, the more that you prevent him from going through what he's supposed to go through, the less likely he is to become the man that you would want him to be. And so all I'm telling you is it's time to gird up, let the children put the toys away. When I was a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. It's about to be the second half of the year. Y'all ready to get to the bag? Y'all ready to get to it? Yo, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. We getting it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all get that Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order, plus 20% off for life, and a free gift. That link is in the description. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it to you. Also, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We got an early show today. I'm going to try to keep it under 2 hours, but who knows? I definitely got to get my daughter over into the airport. And then I'm going to read a couple of the super chats before we get started today. Shout out to Chris Mayberry. Chris Mayberry says, homework complete, ordered books that you recommended as well. Thanks again for the coaching call. Shout out to Chris. My dog, Ray Sean, says facts. New levels, new challenges. Shout out to Ray Sean, my dog. The only therapist that I would ever recommend that anybody go to that actually adds value and knows what he's talking about. Let me give an acknowledgement also to my dog, Mike, that dude on Cash App. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for holding us down. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. So again, make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. We just did Stock Club yesterday. I told y'all about Nvidia. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to get to the money. We're going to get to the situationships. We're going to get to it. All right? Y'all ready to get started? Are y'all ready to get started? All right. Let's get it. Quick hits. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that, we got to talk about it extensively across the board, but we definitely want to keep you guys informed, especially about previous things that I told y'all I was going to keep y'all informed about. So without further ado, Chicago, it is getting very, very scary over in Chicago, including on their mass transit systems. Take a look.
Good afternoon. I'm Erica Sargent.
Great to have you with us. I'm Joe Donlin. 3 new attacks on the CTA in the past 24 hours. The youngest victim, just 16 years old.
CBS 2's Sabrina Franza is tracking the crimes and has new details on the investigations.
We spoke to the mother of that teenager who asked us to keep her anonymous. She told us her son was just making his way home from school when this happened, and instead she found him in the hospital with a gunshot wound in his arm. And she says he's never taking CTA again.
So why is it that we can't all stick together and save our kids? Whether white, black, yellow, orange, you can't put no color on death. Like, you die, you dead.
The mother of a 16-year-old boy.
Did she just say you die, you dead? She said you can't put no color on death. I understand what she was trying to say. But did she just say if you die, you dead? Give me a second.
Our kids, whether white, black, yellow, orange, you can't put no color on death. Like, you die, you dead.
Let's continue.
Mother of a 16-year-old boy.
Every day, this our routine. We talk before we come home.
Was just on the phone with her 16-year-old son before he was shot waiting for the bus at this CTA stop on Jackson and Damon.
And he had just told me his bus was 3 minutes away.
Instead of making it home from school, she met him at the hospital.
All I know is I got a phone call saying that my son was shot.
Where she found him in stable condition, but says their lives were still changed forever.
It's getting closer and closer to home. Like, these kids don't have no safety out here. Like,
her son's case was just one of 3 violent crimes we've counted relating to CTA yesterday.
Had a male laying on the platform, what's going on with church.
At the 47th Street Red Line stop around 8 p.m., a 40-year-old was on the train when police say 2 people started to approach him. He was shot in the right leg and survived. Police are still looking for the person responsible.
Person with the knife, Red Line 69th Street station on the platform.
Further south, on the 69th Street Red Line stop, we're told a 46-year-old started harassing passengers on the platform and pulled out a knife. A victim tried to intervene, and the man with the knife was stabbed himself. Police did not report any arrests there either. At today's city council,
How come the police can't catch nobody is all I'm wondering.
meeting, a resolution was introduced calling for CTA President Dorval Carter to resign. Some alder.
You know what politicians do? Politicians always grandstand. And so usually what happens is when you see something that happens that's negative or something that comes out, what happens with politicians is that they say, oh man, we think the president of the CTA should resign. What is the crime that's happening within the city of Chicago, including on the CTA, have to do with the CTA president being able to efficiently run? Now, I don't know anything about the CTA president or anything like that, but cops being able to catch criminals, culture is trash, people getting shot on. That don't have nothing to do with the president of the CTA making sure that the buses and the trains and the public transportation is running the way that it's supposed to run. But what politicians often do is that they'll call for the head of it to make it seem like they actually doing something instead of actually addressing the real issues and the core of the problem in the first place.
In support of that resolution are calling for the mayor to fire him if he doesn't resign, but opponents threw up a roadblock, so the vote on that would be delayed.
Chicago is very much like Dalton, just a bigger version. It's a reality show. Chicago is a reality show, and so that's what we see on a regular basis. But in addition to that, remember I was telling y'all about a story earlier in the week about a man that was basically on a rapist van, and he was out here doing women dirty, and eventually a woman told on him and he got caught and stuff like that. Well, apparently there was a whole lot of victims. Now, I have to preface this part of the show by telling you that views and expressions and opinions in this part can be very, very graphic. And just make sure that you gird up. If you're out there inside of the daycare, then you might want to turn the TV down a little bit because they get descriptive about the new evidence that they found, that they released about this guy that was basically running a rape van on wheels, this migrant that somehow, some way was able to purchase a rapist van with no windows on wheels. Take a look.
We are uncovering new details about evidence found in what LA County detectives call a rape dungeon on wheels. Investigators say more victims have now come forward.
This is just a horrible story. Fox 11's Haley Winslow was the first to break it. And first of all, Haley, what do we know about these victims?
Well, sources say at least 2 more victims, unfortunately, have come forward, and their family members. And at least one of them is a child. And I can now report what I'm told the forensic team uncovered inside that van. We want to warn you, it is very disturbing. The stench overpowering, the mess overwhelming. Condoms, Christmas toys, a motorized scooter, beer, glue, markers, improvised restraints, a metal partition, and locks on the outside. 2 heroic deputies arrested 40-year-old Eduardo Sarabia in the Angeles National Forest last week. Investigators say they caught Sarabia raping a 26-year-old woman at knife point.
Caught a dude in the act. That's how they caught him. They're now starting to release the details. I told you guys I was going to keep you up to date on what's going on in these streets. They actually caught the dude in the act, getting it in at knife point on a 26-year-old, but it gets worse.
Investigators say they caught Sarabia raping a 26-year-old woman at knife point. I'm inside the, quote, dungeon rape van where investigators say a serial rapist took his victims. At least 2 women, possibly kids. The evidence forensic investigators found is extremely disturbing in here. There's the mattress. Many spots there's semen they found on it. There's several cell phones and thumb drives where they believe he was videotaping his victims. And most disturbing in all of this is probably a small pair of shoes with splattered blood on the soles.
Where was this guy operating? Give me a second. I need to identify exactly where this is happening. Los Angeles. Los Angeles. This is where this was happening, out in Los Angeles. Let's continue.
All of that evidence has been, of course, processed, and inside the van is everything that's left. Taken to the crime lab, law enforcement officers say the forensic team found multiple pairs of women's underwear tucked in corners of the van they believe he collected as trophies. A small pair of pajamas, and next to the small bloody shoes, investigators say they found a shovel.
This dude was straight up demon. Straight up demon. Now, here's the question that you got to ask yourself. How many people, especially considering that he had a shovel in there, how many people didn't survive? I'm telling y'all, it's bad out here. I don't know how many shows that I have to do where I have a conversation with y'all and I tell y'all, hey, be careful. Don't get involved. Get a man around you. Make sure that you're not out here frolicking past a certain time. Don't speak to strangers. Don't give strangers money. All of this stuff. And it's scary enough for men, but it's even scarier for women. I tell y'all this all the time. How many people didn't survive?
that gruesome evidence obviously raises a lot more questions. Sources say the family members who have come forward since Sarabia's arrest have had concerns about him for years. However, they were afraid to alert authorities because they're undocumented immigrants and feared no one would believe them or they'd be deported.
Well, we've got some new information about the first victim and how this was sort of uncovered.
So the first victim escaped. She was sleeping next to a building and a security guard actually woke her up and she said, please just leave me alone, let me be, I've just been raped. And he said, well, we need to call 911. And that's how the whole thing unfolded.
Wow.
Well, thank goodness for the security guard.
Yeah, exactly. And
you know, the tripped out part about it is that this is behavior that happens in a lot of these other countries, and all they're doing is bringing it right over here inside of the United States of America. This is behavior that's already been being perpetuated on a regular basis, and then they bring it over here and they keep doing the same thing and they ain't even tripping about it. And so they walk around, they do what they want to do when they want to do it, and then they implement it against you guys. Anyways, to get to the money, the Department of Justice has recently announced that they're going to be filing an antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation. Check it out.
This morning, as millions of Americans make their plans to attend concerts this summer, reports of a bombshell new lawsuit that could reshape the music industry. The Justice Department and a group of states plan to sue concert giant Live Nation, which owns Ticketmaster. The DOJ plans to allege the company has used its monopoly power to suppress competition, according to people familiar with the matter who spoke to the Wall Street Journal. The lawsuit would seek changes to the company's business practices, including by asking a judge to effectively undo the 2010 merger of Live Nation and Ticketmaster. This, according to the Wall Street Journal. In 2019, the Justice Department found that Live Nation was pressuring venues to use Ticketmaster, and the government plans to challenge exclusive ticketing contracts that Ticketmaster has with major venues, the Journal
like that,
reports.
Quentin, I'm expecting
Live
to get
Nation
you
has
on the
also
live
faced
stream tonight,
backlash for
after
some time
hours.
over high ticket fees, but the company pushing back earlier this year with a top leader writing that the company is subject to high demand and low supply, adding, promoters don't set prices, artists do. The company has also defended its merger with Ticketmaster, arguing it has benefited artists, venues, and fans.
Welcome to the Eras Tour.
Scrutiny on the company gained momentum after Ticketmaster crashed during a pre-sale for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, leaving fans crushed.
I'm always amazed that one of the things that incentivized them to start investigating Live Nation and Ticketmaster, which Live Nation and Ticketmaster actually merged during the Obama administration's helm back in 2010, I believe. So Ticketmaster and Live Nation merged in order to try to have more control over what was going on as far as ticket prices and fees and things like that. And what they were able to do was negotiate better deals with a lot of the venues, to where the venues would then be incentivized in order to push their artists or whoever it is come through to use Ticketmaster / Live Nation. Now, Live Nation is completely separate from Ticketmaster in that Live Nation is the promotional arm. Ticketmaster is controlling the fees and obviously your ability to be able to get in the venue and things like that. And so they're saying that Ticketmaster and Live Nation together has a stranglehold on the industry in which they're snuffing out the competition. So what happens is Ticketmaster is controlling, I think, like 80%. Live Nation is controlling like 50% of their respective field. And so they're saying that this is an issue. And the funniest part about this is that it took a Taylor Swift concert, which I don't really know. I got to deep dive into the documents. I got to wait until I see the lawsuit. But a Taylor Swift concert is the thing that had the Department of Justice calling Live Nation executives to the front of the congregation saying, hey, guys, you need to fix this. A Taylor Swift concert had the Department of Justice questioning the executives over at Live Nation. Like they ain't got nothing better to do. Congress members ain't got nothing better to do than to grill these dudes.
Biggest disaster I've ever seen on Ticketmaster.
I'm not getting tickets.
That public fiasco prompting a high-profile hearing in Congress where executives were grilled.
You have clear dominance, monopolistic control. This whole
He's shaking like a stripper.
Ticket system is a mess. May I suggest respectfully that Ticketmaster ought to look in the mirror?
People that are nervous, they shouldn't talk with their hands. Gotta have that steady hand, baby. That steady hand, baby. People that are nervous, they shouldn't talk with their hands. I don't even know how you can be a Congress member and talking with your hands.
and say,
nervous.
I'm the problem. It's me.
Live Nation responding at the time.
We apologize to the fans. We apologize to Ms. Swift. We need to do better.
So we reached out overnight to both the Justice Department and Live.
Anyway, so Taylor Swift is crashing the site is one of the incentives behind whether or not Live Nation is going to be under scrutiny in his Department of Justice lawsuit to ultimately break up the company because they're saying that they got a monopoly over everything. I'll wait till I see the lawsuit before I get into it. But ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show. Again, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I think you guys are the greatest on earth. Let me read the super chat, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the real show. Jamal Fowler says, getting the bag on a Thursday. Shout out to Molly Mall in the building. I appreciate you. All right, so early show. Let's get to it. The first thing that I want to address, or the first thing that I want to get to, is Nvidia. Now, I did Nvidia quick hits yesterday because I was letting y'all know that they had earnings reports after the bell. So after the show, they was going to be releasing earnings. We also did Stock Club inside of the Patreon. So if you're not a part of Stock Club, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Also tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos. But I had been telling y'all, like, man, listen, I bought a whole car, a whole Porsche 911 based off of my position and how well I've done when it came to being in this particular thing, right? And so Nvidia now is reported earnings, and they just had an absolute positively blowout quarter. I have not seen a blowout quarter this well, especially for a company valued this high in a long time. So again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into the money first.
All right, hi, everybody. We begin with the most anticipated earnings of the season, of the year, and maybe ever, Nvidia. All right, we jest a little, but Nvidia is rocking the entire market right now. The stock, a new record high, busting past 1,000 a share. It's basically adding an entire Goldman Sachs worth of market value right now. And here are some other mind-blowing stats to wow your friend with tonight. Nvidia, more than tripling its sales from a year ago. Revenue from data centers up 427% from last.
That is insane. Let me tell you something. I don't know how you guys have not been riding this train over the last few years. I've been talking about it for a long time, and I cannot believe that you guys have missed out. Look, we do shows on a lot of things. Shout out to Tanisha. Shout out to the Bag Chasers. We talk about a lot of things across multiple different platforms, and I like to segment it so that you guys can pick and choose what you want to be a part of and the thing that you don't want to be a part of. I break down how we look for the things that we are looking to invest in on a regular basis. This is literally a layup. But y'all decided that y'all wanted to go out here and party, play games, entertain, not be prepared, and not be able to capitalize off of this. And this is one of the biggest issues that I have with the community is that I can't believe y'all not getting rich off of this, and you don't even have to do anything to it except for to continue to dollar cost average and then become a part of Stock Club and then just take that advice and continue to plow money into this thing. And it literally is making people rich. This is Microsoft in the early 90s. This is Apple once Steve Jobs got back. This is Tesla in 2008. What is wrong with the people? How do you miss this? How do you miss this? Revenue was up year over year, and I showed y'all how to read the charts inside of Stock Club, right? And I broke it down from a C student's perspective. I showed y'all how to look at exactly what the margins are. I told y'all what the debt to equity ratio is. I told y'all how to look at it on a quarterly and annual basis, everything. There's no reason why you guys should not be getting rich from this, just like the rest of us. That's in the chasers. But y'all so easily distracted by the things that ain't add value into your life. How?
Last year. You did not hear that wrong. Nvidia had a 427% jump in 1 year. But Nvidia stock is about to get a lot cheaper.
And they announcing a 10-to-1 stock split. I just talked about stock splits. I literally just answered questions about stock splits in the last Patreon video. We've been talking about this for a long time. Oh, Jesus Christ. I will never sell. I can never sell this stock. I could never divest my position in this. Jesus.
At least on paper. They're doing a 10-for-1 stock split effective June 7th, so the stock will fall to about $100 a share, but you'll have 10 of them. On the earnings call, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang touting the record quarter and the AI movement overall.
The next industrial revolution has begun. Companies and countries are partnering with Nvidia to shift the trillion-dollar installed base of traditional data centers to accelerated computing.
Now, the Nvidia miracle is popping other stocks as well. You've got AMD, Broadcom, Supermicro Computer. They're all up right now.
They had over $1,000 a share right now. In extended hours. Let me see if I can pull something up real quick. Give me a second. Up another 10% today. It's crazy, bro. This is insane. This run is just crazy. It cannot even be. If y'all part of Stock Club, y'all part of the Bag Chasers, y'all part of the Patreon, shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody that is really participating and catching a wave on this one. Man, oh man.
But you know what is not up right now? That is Intel. Actually, it is up 0.06%. But overall, Intel can't get out of its own way lately. Intel stock down nearly 40% just this year. All right. For more on Nvidia's blowout quarter, though, let's bring in our leadoff panel. Joining us tonight is one Christina Partsenevelos and Wedbush Securities Managing Director Dan Ives, who has been pounding the table on Nvidia. Let's all do it together. Ready? No, in time. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh.
Rock, paper. Here we go.
Sorry.
Christina.
I just threw things
You
across
don't need
the table.
why do you need a highlight? What are you highlighting? We're on TV.
Yeah.
You don't have any paper?
It's how I work. It's how I work.
All
I
right.
know
Christina, 427%. Is that real?
that is real. And that is the main driver for revenues this quarter. So you saw revenues come in higher than what
Blowout
was anticipating,
earnings.
matching buy-side expectations, $26 billion. The guide for Q2 came in at $28 billion, higher than what the street was anticipating. To your data center point, on the call, they spoke about
$28 billion in revenue in quarter two. Jesus Christ. Boy, oh boy.
As the main driver. One of the main reasons inferencing contributed 40% of data center revenues.
I have a question about inferencing.
So it's the second
what
part
is
of
inferencing?
the large language model. You train it first, like taking a bunch of encyclopedias, let's say, and it gathers all the information.
Okay.
The inferencing is the second stage of that. So let's say you ask, what is...
Did you say encyclopedias? What year is this?
I'm just trying to do
Where is Siam?
It's a visualization for our audience to understand that they take the data, and the second part is getting answers to your queries. So just asking a question, so that's the inferencing part. And NVIDIA is trying to let the investors know that their GPUs are capable of both, not only training, but inferencing, something that AMD said that they would come in and sweep in.
Light years ahead of their competition.
And succeed in that. So clearly, that's not necessarily the case.
Shout out to Trace.
They're also seeing strength in auto. They think that's going to be a big driver for data center revenue. And sovereign AI, which is, sovereign nations around the world that are building their own proprietary AI infrastructures.
They're going to need NVIDIA's chips in order to power whatever it is that they're trying to do from an AI perspective. All right? And so I always tell people that y'all need to make sure that y'all dollar cost average. What is dollar cost averaging? Dollar cost averaging is basically automating the process of investing into things that you already research, which is some of the things that we do together inside a Stock Club. Dollar cost averaging is basically going into it and automating the amount of money every single pay period, every single month. It should literally be in your budget to pay yourself first. Man, y'all just need to join the Patreon. Let me switch over really quickly because he actually jumped on Yahoo Finance. The CEO of NVIDIA jumped on Yahoo Finance to talk about his quarter one earnings, Blackwell, and the chip demand. Let's get into it, y'all.
I'm Julie Hyman, host of Yahoo Finance.
You know what the funniest part about this whole situation is that I could talk about Diddy and Cassie, which we will next, and people was like, oh my God, salivating over more tea for Diddy and Cassie. And when we talk about Nvidia, you know what I'm saying? And we talk about your investment strategy and making sure that you align yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in and exactly what inferencing is and the new latest technologies and how much they had a blowout quarter and how much more money you need to be making. People be like, I don't think. What about Kamala Harris? What's going on with Ruby Rose? Like, come on, man, get this money.
Market domination. Here with our tech editor, Dan Howley. Nvidia has done it again. The chip giant blowing past analyst expectations in its strong fiscal first quarter. Data center revenue alone soaring by 427% year over year. And the company also gave another bullish sales forecast, which shows that AI spending momentum continues apace. On top of all that, the company also announced a 10-for-1 forward stock split and raised its dividend. Joining us now, Nvidia founder and CEO Jensen Huang, fresh off the conference call. Jensen, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us.
I'm happy to be here. Nice to see you guys.
You too. I want to start with Blackwell, which is your next generation chip. It's shipping this year, you said on the call. You also said on the call, we will see a lot of Blackwell revenue this year. So if we're looking at about $28 billion in revenue in the current quarter, and Blackwell is a more expensive product than Hopper, the chip series out now, what does that imply about revenue in the fourth quarter and for the full year?
Well, it should be significant. Yeah, Blackwell, and as you know, we guide one quarter at a time. And but what I could tell you about Blackwell is this. This is a giant leap in AI, and it was designed for trillion parameter AI models. And this is, as you know, we're already at 2 trillion parameters. Model sizes are growing, about doubling every 6 months, and the amount of processing between the size of the model, the amount of data is growing 4 times. And so the ability for these data centers to keep up with these large models really depends on the technology that we bring to them. And so the Blackwell is designed also for incredibly fast inferencing. And inference used to be about recognition of things, but now inferencing, as you know, is about generation of information, generative AI. And so whenever you're talking to ChatGPT and it's generating information for you or drawing a picture for you or recognizing something and then drawing something for you, that generation is a brand new inferencing technology, is really, really complicated and requires a lot of performance. And so Blackwell is designed for large models, for generative AI, and we designed it to fit into any data center. And so it's air-cooled, liquid-cooled, x86, or this new revolutionary processor we designed called Grace Blackwell Superchip. And then, supports InfiniBand data centers like we used to, but we also now support a brand new type of data center, Ethernet. We're going to bring AI to Ethernet data centers. So the number of ways that you could deploy Blackwell is way, way higher than Hopper generation. So I'm excited about that.
And when y'all look at a lot of these companies, because we're looking at Nvidia, but we're looking at Nvidia and the growth of Nvidia, not just based off of their chips, but how they support artificial intelligence. So when you look back a year ago, or you look back in the AI boom, a lot of people are talking about Google, and people were so caught up on ChatGPT and stuff like that. But you have to ask yourself the questions, and you have to go down that rabbit hole to figure out who all is affected by this new technology. And so when we have these conversations or we have these questions and we start to talk about it, and I was telling y'all, we evaluated it from a political perspective. We looked at it from a warring perspective. We talk about how Taiwan and Nvidia's fortunes are very much tied in with what's going on in Taiwan, which is one of the reasons why it's so much easier for them to be able to push through the money that they're giving over to Israel and things like that. And so it's not just from an investment perspective. When I say that we do the news, but the news ultimately determines how it is that it comes back down to the money. When we look at these presidential elections and we say, oh, okay, well, why are they letting all of these people in and why are they tying this infrastructure deal or the bills that's passed over into national security, and why do they then tie in Taiwan? And we don't really talk about Taiwan, but we talk about Israel, we talk about Ukraine. But this entire package of $95 billion also includes Taiwan, because China is also battling for Taiwan in order to be able to get a hold of chip technology in order to increase their position in the world versus the United States of America and other countries. Well, it all comes back down to the money, right? The chip manufacturing process that I've been telling you guys for the last 3 or 4 years, when we've been riding the wave of ASML, right? ASML is basically the only company in the world that can basically manufacture the equipment that ultimately builds a lot of these chips that's then being manufactured over in Texas when they starting to bring in more jobs. When we talk about this stuff and we start to put it together so that when you then look at Bloomberg and you look at MarketWatch and you look at Yahoo Finance and you look at all of these publications, because you now become more interested and you're deep diving into everything and how people are profiting across the board, right? When we talked about iPhones, when iPhones was first blowing up and iPhones was really, really making waves, and it made Apple the $2 trillion, $3 trillion company that it is today, a lot of us didn't really talk about the technology that came from the cameras from Sony. And we didn't talk about the glass that came from Samsung. And we didn't talk about all of the suppliers that came along with it, because the only thing that matters for a lot of people is the popularity of the company and not necessarily how we making money. So when we break this thing down and we look at it from a political perspective, from a financial perspective, when we look at the wars that's happening everywhere, these wars is not just based off of, oh my God, we need to make sure that Russia don't stop us. No, it always comes back to the money. When your tax dollars are going overseas and we're trying to understand, hey man, why is this tied into national security? Where's Taiwan play a role in this? It always comes back to the money. And everybody got a vested interest in seeing a lot of this stuff be successful. So when we look at this, we do deep dives. We do deep dives about how we make money, why it's important for us to understand it on every spectrum, and then we break it down from a C student's perspective. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Let's continue to hear what they got to say.
I want to talk about the inferencing, Jensen. You know, some analysts have brought up the idea that as we move over towards inferencing from the training, that there may be some in-house companies, processors from companies, those made from Microsoft, Google, Amazon, may be more suited for the actual inferencing. I guess, how does that impact Nvidia then?
Well, inferencing used to be easy. You know, when people started talking about inference, generative AI didn't exist. And now generative AI is of course, is about prediction, but it's about prediction of the next token or prediction of the next pixel or prediction of the next frame. And all of that is complicated. And generative AI is also used for understanding in order to generate the content properly, you have to understand the context and what is called memory. And so now the memory size is incredibly large, and you have to have context memory. You have to be able to generate the next token really, really fast. It takes a whole lot of tokens to make an image. It takes a ton of tokens to make a video, and it takes a lot of tokens to be able to reason about a particular task so that it can make a plan. And so the generative AI era really made inference 1,000,000 times more complicated. And as you know, the number of chips that were intended for inference kind of fell by the wayside, and now people are talking about building new chips. You know, the versatility of NVIDIA's architecture makes it possible for people to continue to innovate and create these amazing new AIs. And then now Blackwell's coming.
So in other words, you think you still have a competitive advantage even as the market sort of shifts to inferencing?
We have a great position in inference because inference is just a really complicated problem. You know, and the software stack is complicated. The type of models that people use is complicated. There's so many different types. It's just going to be a giant market opportunity for us. The vast majority of the world's inferencing today, as people are experiencing in their data centers and on the web, vast majority of the inferencing today is done on NVIDIA. And so I expect that to continue.
You said on the call a couple of times that you'll be supply constrained for both Hopper and then Blackwell chips well until next year because of the vast demand that's out there. What can you do about that? Are there any sort of levers you can pull to help increase supply?
Hopper demand grew throughout this quarter after we announced Blackwell. And so that kind of tells you how much demand there is out there. People want to deploy these data centers right now. They want to put our GPUs to work right now and start making money and start saving money. And so that demand is just so strong. It's
which basically tells me that this stock and the profitability of this company is not going to slow down. They're going to run it up, and they're going to continue to be successful.
It's really important to take a step back and realize that what we build is not a GPU chip. We call it Blackwell and we call it GPU, but we're really building AI factories. These AI factories have CPUs and GPUs and really complicated memory. The systems are really complicated. It's connected by NVLink. There's an NVLink switch. There's InfiniBand switches, InfiniBand NICs, and then now we have Ethernet switches and Ethernet NICs. And all of this connected together with this incredibly complicated spine called NVLink. And then the amount of software that it takes to build all this and run all this is incredible. And so these AI factories are essentially what we build. We build it as a holistic unit, as a holistic architecture and platform, but then we disaggregate it so that our partners could take it and put it into data centers of any kind. And every single cloud has slightly different architectures and different stacks, and our stacks and our architecture can now deeply integrate into theirs, but everybody's a little different. So we build it as an AI factory. We then disaggregate it so that everybody can have AI factories. This is just an incredible thing, and we do this at very high volume. It's just very, very hard to do.
Nvidia had a blowout quarter. For everybody that didn't capitalize off of it, for everybody that didn't make money off of this, for everybody that's not riding this wave and is so easily distracted while wealth continues to generate, and then they're going to be running in the Victim Olympics, and everybody got access to this, and you're not capitalizing off of it, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. And don't just tap into the Patreon for the upcoming meetup that we got happening in July. Tap in so you can get the knowledge, and then you leverage it in order to continue to make sure that you don't have to continue to beg Biden to forgive your student loans. You know what I'm saying? My daughter, man, come on, bro. Anyways, let me read a few of the super chats, and then we're going to move over with the show. Treese, we're going to mix it up. We're going to get to the money. We're going to get to the politics. We're going to get to what's going on in popular culture. Treese says, just joined the Bag Chasers annual membership. Shout out to you, big dog. Lamar H is in the building, says, what's up? I got that Nvidia and AMD, Anton. Get the bag chase. Get that bag, chasers. Appreciate your work in the word, bro. Let's get it. Shout out to the chasers. Sister! Mr. AD, Nvidia's annual meeting is 6/26, 2024. Voting must be submitted by 6/25, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to my girl, sister. I love her. That's my baby. Seeker of Truth says, great show. How do you learn more about investing from your content? Well, we break it down from a C student's perspective. I would advise you to get into the Patreon, right? We break down, first of all, the 8 things that we look for when we're looking to invest in a company. Then we deep dive into it. We show you how to read the charts. We show you how to make sure that you're aligning yourself with the latest news, how they pick things, how they decide to put certain things in place, the difference between the industries, including hospitality, retail, technology, manufacturing. We go into all of it. And so we break it down very, very simple. The biggest thing for a lot of people is they can't get past the lingo. You know, once you get past the lingo, none of these people are smarter than you. They're not wiser than you. You just got to be able to get past the lingo. And so we do all of that. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Phenomenal question. Shout out to Art of Facts. Says, I got this super sticker for you. Thank you, Artifacts. I appreciate you. All right. This is the greatest morning show on the face of the earth. And nobody tackles subjects like we do. Let's get into it, y'all. All right? Diddy. Diddy is now being accused by a new model, not an AI model, one from 2023. Oh, I'm sorry, 2003. 2003. Let's get into it. Make sure I hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Hi, I'm Christian McKinney from Savannah, Georgia. I won MTV and IMG's model mission for 1998.
Another woman sues Sean Diddy Combs, claiming he sexually assaulted her during Men's Fashion Week.
We have 5 disturbing details from the new lawsuit. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Yet another woman has filed a lawsuit against Sean Combs, claiming that he sexually assaulted her, this one back in 2003. Her name is Crystal McKinney. She was a model in the late 90s and early aughts. She appeared on some MTV shows, including Total Request Live. McKinney's suit says in
y'all remember TRL?
2003, a designer invited her to meet Combs during Men's Fashion Week. The suit says the designer began to direct plaintiff's appearance as he sought to ensure that Combs found her attractive. For instance, the designer instructed plaintiff to go to Elizabeth Arden to get a root touch-up to ensure it was platinum blonde.
Did she do it? That's all I want to ask is, did she do it? Did she go over to Elizabeth Arden to get a root touch-up to ensure that it was platinum blonde? That's all I want to know. Let's continue.
The suit says that the designer even had a stylist put hair extensions in McKinney's hair and then handpicked her clothes, a black leather coat with a fur hood, a translucent chiffon beige V-cut shirt, and jeans encrusted with jewels. The suit says at a dinner
jeans encrusted with jewels. Shout out to all of the new bag chasers. Oh my God, this is so dumb, man.
Combs told McKinney she was gorgeous and that she would make it big one day. She claims he made promises that he would help her advance her career. The suit says that Combs even gave McKinney his phone number as a show of good faith. She claims he was flirty and almost leering at her. Then later that night, she went to his recording studio, and that's where she said the assault took place.
Listen, all right, so listen. My short time on the face of this earth is limited. So you got to take that into consideration. And you got to take into consideration that I'm a C student, okay? How is giving somebody your phone number a show of good faith? Let me back that up one more time. How is giving somebody your phone number a show of good faith? And then you come through listen, you a model. You don't have no talent. You can't do nothing for nobody. You done already got dressed up. You went and got your jewel encrusted pants on and your platinum blonde from Elizabeth Arden. You can't sing, you can't rap, you can't dance, you can't do nothing. But you get the phone number and you get invited over to the studio. I wonder what they interested in. Complimented you, gave you a phone number, model that won on MTV or whatever it is that you won on. You going over to the studio. You can't sing, you can't dance, you can't rap, you can't even do an ad lib. I wonder why you going over there late at night. Let me give you my phone number. It's a show of good faith.
The suit says McKinney found Combs and several other men seated together, and they were drinking Hennessy and passing around joints. One of Combs's associates asked her, quote, "Do you smoke weed?" And she said yes. McKinney said that Combs told her, "You've never had weed like this before," and passed the joint to her. The suit says that McKinney took a hit off the joint, and it felt powerful, like she was floating. She says she later found out it had been laced with a narcotic, and then Combs pressured her to drink more alcohol and smoke more of the joint.
Hey, I'm pressuring you. Hey, listen, let me put this gun in your head. We asked you, hey, have you ever done this before? Come on, man, listen. We all know that Diddy is crazy, insane. And we also know that this is just a part of what happens inside of the industry, which is one of the reasons they tell you don't go in that room. Hey, don't go in that door. Don't go over there. Don't go to the studio. Don't go to this hotel room late at night unless you're ready for a freak off. Don't go and get them extensions in your hair, bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair. Don't do it. Hey, you drink, you smoke, you want to come and drink and smoke with us? Oh, yeah, I do. Now you getting pressured. Okay, all right, got it.
With Combs telling her she was being too uptight. Then the suit says that Combs led McKinney into the bathroom where he forced her to perform oral sex on him, pushing her head into his crotch and telling her, quote, "Suck it." The suit says that McKinney lost consciousness and came to in a taxi cab. The suit goes on to claim that Combs had her blackballed in the industry and that she went into a deep depression, even trying to take her own life the following year in 2004.
I wonder where we've heard this playbook. Honestly, look. I know that y'all keep telling me, Anton, believe all women and do this and do that. But let me just tell you something, bro. So you telling me that I am just by default not supposed to question it, not supposed to be having a red flag go off in the top of my head, not looking like, why would they do this? Hey, what's going on over here? Are you telling me that I am supposed to just by default believe a woman that comes forward 21 years later, never filed a criminal suit, never did anything, never complained, never whined about it, but just because she said it with no evidence whatsoever, just because she said it, that I'm supposed to believe her and she's supposed to get millions of dollars. Let's say hypothetically that I believe her. Let's say hypothetically, with no evidence, because y'all seen me do plenty of shows. I've been doing them this week where girls has just accused a dude. He got held on $1 million bail, lost his job, was in jail for the next 31 days, and then she went in and she admitted, hey, I did lie on him because I didn't like the way that this truck looked. Okay, cool. Got it. So are you supposed to tell me that because she said it out of her mouth, that's the only thing that matters as far as determining whether or not this woman is supposed to get millions of dollars? So she voluntarily went to the studio, voluntarily through her own mouth, smoked trees, drank, went into the bathroom, did the whole 9 yards. And so I'm supposed to just say, hey, get that woman millions of dollars because she said so. Is that what we doing now? All right, cool. I'm with it. Listen, if y'all say it, I'm just presenting the news and then I'm just asking the questions. So any chick that voluntarily put herself in this position and then participated automatically gets millions of dollars. Okay, cool. I told y'all that this was going to happen. I said, listen, this is just going to open up the floodgates. This ain't even about the person that y'all think that this is about. This is an opportunity for everybody to get in. Men is going to get in this. Lil Rod going to get in this. Whoever this model is, she going to get in on this. Everybody going to get in on this.
Robin Nunn is a litigator, and she's been combing through this lawsuit, as have I. Robin, Chris,
tell me how demonic this is, ladies.
McKinney,
and this was right after special delivery. I want that.
He lays out some serious allegations, and they're kind of similar to some allegations that other women have made. She was a model back in 2003. It sounds like she had some success, and she's claiming she met Sean Combs one night, and then things went downhill from there after she claimed she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah, reading her complaint was very sobering. It's a very sad story. She seems to be someone who was an up-and-coming model at one point.
You know how many up-and-coming... Look at this goofball. Look at this goofball. Hey, I wonder how many other guys that happened to that she was in a room with, that she did it for free, but she didn't file a lawsuit against them. Man, listen, bro. Look at this goofball. You know how many models that I've seen or women that profess themselves to be models? We got all kind of models nowadays. They IG models, they all of that. Man, get out of here with this, bro. This is a basic white chick, bro. I hate to be the one to say it. I hate to want to be the one. Whenever the money run out and whenever there's no more success to be had, all of a sudden, everybody did everything to you from the past. Get the piss out of here, bro.
Winner of MTV's Model Mission, just really kind of breaking into her career and having a lot of success. And unfortunately, in the early parts of that career, she seems to have been introduced to Sean Combs and had a very sort of debilitating experience and evening with him, and wasn't really able to ever recover, and her career in life sort of suffered. Is a part of her, is the allegation in her.
So you telling me you was already smoking trees and doing drugs and drinking, you went, and according to this lawsuit, according to what I'm looking at right now, you went, gave that Gawk 3000, and then somehow, someway, your whole career and trajectory got knocked off course. Is this what we doing? Is this what we doing? Because listen, I plan on deep diving into this much more extensively on the Anton Daniels channel. Oh, yes. And we're going to talk about it on After Hours tonight with Quentin simping. But you telling me that you went and gave some dome in the bathroom and all of a sudden your whole career, she didn't say this. Stop it, man. Come on, bro. Come on, man. I'm not going for this, man. Stop, bro.
Her complaint.
She's filed this complaint in federal court. She lives in Georgia. She's from Georgia. So she was in New York, traveled to New York for this Men's Fashion Week back in 2003 when she claims this sexual assault happened. What I find interesting about this is the fact that she's represented by the same attorneys who represent Joy Dickerson Neal, another woman who came forward accusing Sean Combs of sexual assault, kind of a similar thing. It was like happened one night, I guess. It wasn't an ongoing thing that's been alleged, like Cassie alleged and things like that. So why file in federal court? Joy Dickerson Neal's was filed in New York State Court. So what's the play there? Why do you think that happened?
Yeah, I think that Ms. McKinney has diversity of citizenship here. Her being a resident of Georgia and Combs and some of the entities that were included in this complaint, as she didn't only just sue Sean Combs, she also sued a number of his companies as well as Universal Music Group.
Not a criminal complaint anywhere. Not nobody, nothing, not a zilch. Nobody, not a daddy, not a mama that ever said that, hey, man, she was telling me that Sean Diddy Combs did a number on her inside of the bathroom. Nothing, not a zilch. No criminal complaint, no evidence, no kits, no nothing. Zero. Nothing happened. As far as all the way up until 2024, until Cassie. And now she's suing Universal Music Group, Bad Boy, Diddy, federal lawsuits, everything. And I'm just supposed to just be like, oh, yeah, believe all women. Get out of here with this, man. I don't want to hear this nonsense. This is foolishness. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, this is nothing but foolishness. Let me flip around real quick, all right? So, considering all of that's happening, and I'm going to read the super chat shortly. I got y'all. But let's just pivot for a minute. Let's just go right on into it. Cassie, now that the footage has been released, she said, listen, guys, listen. I got a statement that I want to share with you, and I want to get my thoughts off. I got a statement that I want to share with you guys, and I want to get my thoughts off. So I talked about this on the Anton Daniels channel, but I know we got an entirely different audience. We got to get to it. So before we get to Ice Cube and him talking about the political leanings, and before we get into people moving back into their parents' houses and stuff like that, let's just deep dive for a minute, y'all. So Cassie came forth and she said, I am breaking my silence since I've gotten my tens of millions of dollars, allegedly. And the footage was released, and these are my thoughts, okay? So this is her statement that she posted on social media. Now, a lot of you guys are familiar with the live stream that I did last night, in which I deep dove into all of the intricate details according to what was being shared out here on social media and in songs and Ryan Leslie and everything like that, right? But this is her statement. Let's get into it. Thugging it out. See that? and better times, or maybe not so good times. Cassie decided to go on social media and share a statement. And this is what she wrote. And I'm going to read it out loud for you guys so that you guys can understand exactly the severity of this situation. And then we're going to go from there, all right? Thank you for all of the love and support from my family, friends, strangers, and those I have yet to meet. The outpouring of love has created a place for my younger self to settle and feel safe now. But this is only the beginning. Talk about a career rebirth. Domestic violence with the D and the V capitalized is the issue. It broke me down to someone I never thought I would become. With a lot of hard work, I'm better today. But I will always be recovering from my past. Now, this first paragraph, we're going to get into all three stanzas. The first paragraph, I get it. I 100% agree with it. Listen, nobody should be ever putting their hands, and I hate that I even have to preface reading this statement by making sure that I tell y'all again, for the 999th time, nobody, and I mean nobody, should ever, man, woman, nothing, man assaulting a man assaulting a woman assaulting a woman assaulting a man, nobody under any circumstances should ever put their hands or their feet on somebody and assault them. Under no circumstances. And what Diddy did and what he's been perpetuating is absolutely 100% atrocious. Okay? Other part of the conversation, now that we got the little nuances out of the way. Who didn't know that Diddy was Diddy way before Diddy ever became Diddy? We talked about that last night. Let me read the rest of the statement. It goes on to say, thank you to everyone that has taken the time to take this matter seriously. My only ask, now here's where the red flag comes in. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. This ties back into the previous conversation that we just had in the last segment. This ties into the previous conversations that we was having yesterday and the day before. This ties into the previous conversations that we was having about the men being falsely accused too. This ties into everything. Let's get to it. Let's get to the good part. My only ask is that everyone, capitalize everyone, open your heart to believing victims the first time. Let me read that statement again, and then we're going to go to the rest of it, and then we're going to revisit it. My only ask is that everyone open your heart to believing victims the first time. It takes a lot of heart to tell the truth out of a situation that you were powerless in. Words mean things. I just want to make sure I emphasize certain things. I offer my hand to those that are still living in fear. Reach out to your people. Don't cut them off. No one should carry this weight alone. The healing journey is never ending, but this support means everything to me. Thank you, love always, Cassie. All right, let's go back to one statement. Let's go back to one particular statement. My only ask is that everyone open your heart to believing victims the first time. Listen, I know that this is an unpopular thing to say. I know that this is an unpopular thing to say, but let me just say it and let me say it clearly. I will never, ever, without evidence, automatically by default, no matter whether you're a man or a woman, I'm going to take caution. I'm going to make sure that you're protected, especially if you're under my covering. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to make sure that everybody is held accountable for whatever it is that they say and do. But under no circumstance, let me highlight that again, under no circumstance Well, I believe by default people just because you said it. You're not going to come back 50 years from now. You're not going to just do it because it's too many people, too many guys, too many women that are falsely accused, and humans by default are liars. Now, that doesn't mean that she was lying, because obviously she has shown, or somebody has shown the evidence to show that she wasn't lying, and she should be taken care of, coddled, and all of that. But I am not on the bandwagon. I will not be. I'm not giving over into it, and you're never going to try to convince me otherwise, that I am by default supposed to convict somebody in a court of public opinion and just automatically say that they're supposed to give millions of dollars and go to jail just because they are accused. No, that's not what I'm doing. I believe that everybody, according to the justice system, deserves their day in court. I believe that the evidence is supposed to show it. I believe that people are supposed to be accountable and held accountable for their actions. But I am not, under any circumstances, just by default, going to open up my heart and believe everybody just because they are who they are. No, never, not at all. I'm not going for it. And so I know a lot of y'all think that that's the wrong thing to say. I know that we all supposed to be kumbaya, but man, listen, I'm standing on that. I see too many guys that's getting released off of the Innocence Project. I see too many people falsely accusing people. I see too many people capping, too many people lying. And although it does make it worse, and so y'all need to hold also, if y'all want this thing to be equal, if y'all want this thing to actually really work, then that means you got to hold the people that are lying just as accountable as the people that perpetuate the crimes. There needs to be harsher penalties on people if they are accused of something and they lie about something that did not happen, especially if it affects other people's lives. They need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, because what they do is they mess it up for people who are truly victims. And then I do truly feel some compassion and sorry for people that are in this situation, because they don't deserve to get their hands put on them. But at the same time, man, everybody. So anybody can say anything, and we just by default supposed to believe that stuff. Come on, man. Come on, bro. This is a dangerous path, and this is the thing that I've been warning y'all about. This is the thing that I've been warning people about, because it's a dangerous sentiment that will say, I told y'all that this was going to happen. I told y'all that this was going to start to be the poster child of it. Diddy is a problem because he then has set people back and women back and men back years and years and years, because he lied about the fact that he did do some egregious stuff to her. And so what happens is everybody is going to have to pay the price for it. Now, men are running scared. Somebody I read in the comments the other day on one of my videos, and he said, man, come on, guys, let's be for real. How many of y'all are really scared? Man, listen, I'm scared to death. And I ain't scared based off of anything that I did. I'm scared based off of the precedent that is set for other men, because I don't even put myself in this position. I'm girded up. I'm lawyered up. I made sure that I don't even entertain any of the possibilities of what could happen with a woman or anything like that. I've been married for a long time. I'm chilling. This ain't about me. I'm scared for you. Because the Innocence Project is still alive and well. Guys are still doing time, still alive and well. Women are still getting beat up and they still alive and well. It's a lot of part of this culture that we need to have a conversation about. And it's not just believing people by default just because they accuse people of something. That's not the solution. That's not the solution. You could have said anything. You could have said, my only ask is that everyone believe me the first time that I said it. And we could say, okay, yeah, you're right. We knew the context clues. We knew what was happening. Maybe we should have took that more into consideration. But I can't, because you know why? The Lil Rods come after that. We don't hold the Cardi B's accountable. We don't hold the Meg Thee Stallions accountable for the same thing. We don't hold this chick that just came out 21 years later talking about her whole career was messed up because she gave some Coke Gawk 3,000. It's hard, because when y'all not equal across the board and you're not holding other people accountable, it's very difficult for us to just by default believe everybody, because there's too many people crying wolf. If you are a man of significance, if you are a successful person, if you are a public figure, you should really, really be talking with your lawyers to make sure you get all the appropriate paperwork for anybody that spends their time around you, to make sure that you are protected against false accusations, because we are now going into the second phase of a dangerous sentiment Well, we started off in the whole Me Too movement way before the pandemic. If you are a man, it is more important than ever for you to make sure that you exercise dick discipline, that you are girded up, that you lawyered up, that on your way up to the top, you understand the consequences. Obviously, it goes without saying, don't ever put your hands on nobody ever, and don't do something that you're not supposed to be doing against people. But in a general sense, it is a dangerous sentiment that's being set across the board. Be careful. I've been warning y'all since I've been on the internet. It is imperative. Don't come to me later talking about, Anton, I didn't know, I wasn't paying attention, I was simping out. Be careful. Be very, very careful. That's what I got to stay on that sentiment. Let me read some of the super chats and then we're going to continue on with the show. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're going to get to the nitty gritty. Shout out to my dog, Bruiser. Says, let me know when a seat at the table opens up. Bet, Bruce. I got you, big dog. Magic Don Twan is in the building. Says, finally got back into the Patreon. Had to get back on track. Let me give a round of applause to the new chasers. Hope you have a Detroit meetup around the time I get back home to visit my granny, or I can set it around then. Shout out to Magic Don Twan getting into that bag. Optimus Prime says, Anton pressured me to join his Patreon. Well, good. Good. Finally, you can get something done good for yourself. Illinois Bank says, I called Cap now. If she said he told her to take that, then that's a different story. It's a different story. Enforcer 2K9 is in the building. Says, yo, Cassie literally went for the bad boy, got bad boy results. Now we're all saying Diddy is such a bad boy. Yeah, he is. And he been that. Go and look at the live stream from last night. BZE says, I'm going back to trade school. It costs $28,000. I have $10,000 in cash, $15,000 in my 401k through my job that I can use. Would it be ideal for me to use all of my 401k in cash to go, or I need to find another way? Find another way. Never, under any circumstances, unless you are dying and on your deathbed, you act like that money don't exist. Do not take that money out of your 401k and incur all of them early penalties and them taxes that come along with that. Heck no. No. What I'm wondering is, why are y'all going and y'all spending all of this money when y'all can work y'all way through it, minimize the amount of loans that you take in, whatever. Do not raid your 401k. You will regret it. Listen, do not take all of the penalties and hits from a 401k and withdrawn early. Do not. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not withdraw from your 401k. Find another way. Find another way. This is from Anton, from AntonDaniels.com. I'm telling you to find another way. Jesus H. Christ says, do you think all of these lawsuits in general will affect real victims of SA, whom are mostly women? Absolutely. 100%. Because now the ones that actually are victims can't really get the support because we all skeptical and we looking at everybody with a skeptical eye because we don't know who finessing and who don't. Absolutely 100%. It's a cash grab. Shout out to Ant. Shout out to my dog Ant. Says, took a year and a half and I can finally say I'm debt free. Just made my final payment of $4,000 this morning. I'm 25 with twins. Now it is time to start funding my retirement brokerage custodial accounts for my kids. Hey, shout out. Hey, chasers. Can we get a round of applause for the bag chasers that's out here completely removing debt and running it up? Shout out to Ant-Man. Anthony M is in the building. Morden Mello. What up, Morden Mello says, hey, Mr. Daniels, any literature or advice that helped prepare you for the corporate world as you transition from the mill to IT? Blessings to you. I would read How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think that is one of the most vital books for you to read, because in corporate America, not only are you supposed to be good at what you do, but if you ever want to level up, then you have to be able to be a part of the cultural norm. You have to be likable. People do things because they like you instead of how much they care about your work. So How to Win Friends and Influence People, I would definitely read that first. So go and get that book and read it and study it. Tanisha says, I got this super chat for you, the sticker. Shout out to Tanisha. I appreciate you. And then Bam Flacco says Diddy gave back artist masters because he knows he's cooked. I wouldn't have gave nobody nothing. I would have kept it all. I would have kept it all. I wouldn't have gave nobody nothing at this point because everybody is going to do what they want to do anyway. It's all mine. Take that, take that, take that. All right, y'all. We got a couple of other subjects that I want to transition through before we get y'all out of here. And I got to take my daughter over to the airport. So before we do so, let's talk about Ice Cube. Let's talk about Ice Cube, all right? Ice Cube recently made the news because I believe that he sold a team in the Big Three for $10 million. Can we get a round of applause for Ice Cube? I think that Ice Cube has been a gem for business professionals to admire, for the movie people to break into, as a pioneer. I liked his Build Back Better plan that he had proposed. I may not have agreed with everything, but I definitely liked the fact that he actually put his money where his mouth is, and he went out and he stuck his head out on a limb, only for a lot of women to say, whoosh, try to cut it off, and they turned against him. But Ice Cube recently made an appearance on Fox News to talk about the growing support that's obviously growing for my dog Trump. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to it.
I just want to say,
that's LT up there.
I grew up a Democrat, and I've always been a Democrat until I met this man right here. I'll tell you what. He will not have to worry about nobody in my family ever vote for a Democrat again.
And that was New York Giants legendary and Pro Football Hall of Famer Lawrence Taylor endorsing President Trump during his massive New Jersey rally over the weekend. Former Giants running back Otis Anderson also throwing his support to the former president. Trump hoping to gain ground with black voters. Rapper Lil Wayne praising Trump's work on criminal reform. While rapper Snoop Dogg said earlier this year he has, quote, nothing but love and respect for Trump. Rapper.
That's some big endorsement. Yo, why they got 50 Cent on there looking like a fool? Yo, come on, Fox. Y'all did 50 dirty on that. I'm going to just say that right away. Fox, y'all did 50 dirty on that. What is going on with 50's braids and his throwback photo that they found of 50? Come on, man. Y'all can do better than that. Y'all, whoever the producer is, whoever did that thumbnail, they can do way better with that 50 thumbnail right there. That's disrespectful. That is absolutely disrespectful. Now, before we get into this and before we start to actually hear what Ice Cube and whoever it is got to say, because I'm reading this or I'm reacting to this in real time, I want to encourage people because, and I'm going to say this because, it's, you know, I said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again. I know we got a lot of new people. We did an earlier show today. Let me say this. We are free thinkers. We don't care what side of the aisle you on. We don't care if you're libertarian. We don't care if you're independent. We don't care if you're conservative. We don't care if you're liberal. What we do is we have uncomfortable conversations and we share our thoughts. And then everybody is welcome to chime in because chat lives matters. Chat lives matters. So we share our thoughts, we get it off, and we run it up because chat lives matters. Now, the only thing that we ask is that people do not become overly disrespectful. But everybody, and we don't operate in an echo chamber, everybody is welcome to be able to give an opinion, whether it be politically or about money or about relationships, whether it's different from mine or different from yours. We respect all opinions over here because we are free thinkers. The only thing that we ask is that you be able to substantiate your argument and you stand on what you believe in and be open to the possibility that you're wrong or not. Let's continue.
50 Cent also suggesting Trump is maybe the answer after seeing New York City give prepaid credit cards to illegal migrants. Joining me now with some big news of his own is the founder of Big Three, award-winning rapper and actor Ice Cube. Also joining us is Big Three president and co-founder Jeff Quackness. Great to see you, Jeff.
I see they ain't got Cameron on this segment.
Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. Jeff Quanton, it's always a pleasure and an honor to see you. Cube, I want to kick things off with this historic Big Three news. But first, what did you make of this support for Trump over the weekend? And do you feel a shift going on in the African-American community, celebrities and rappers turning their attention to Donald Trump?
I don't know. I've been so engulfed in the Big Three. And so, I just got off tour in Canada, so I'm a little out the loop. People going to make a decision on who they want to be president. I think it's a personal decision. I don't know if they care if any rappers or entertainers get up there and say anything. It's really a personal decision. People know who Trump is. People know who Biden is. They're going to make their decision no matter who gets up there and pushes whatever agenda they're on. So it's really, the country knows both of these guys very well. So I just think it's going to just come down to a personal.
Let me say this. I think that Cube gave the safest answer that he could ever give. I honestly believe in my heart. Now, I can't substantiate this. This is just my opinion. I believe that Cube is a conservative to his heart. I believe that he is a Trump supporter. I believe he's a conservative, especially what happened after this whole Build Back Better plan and Biden and them. They said, listen, after the election, we're going to come and visit with you. And they ain't never got back in touch with him. And nobody heard nothing about this Build Back Better plan, and they ain't meet with him or nothing like that, right? But I believe that he's a conservative. Another thing that I believe is that I think that he's smart and that he's a businessman because he's trying to pitch a product. The Big Three, he's trying to pitch a product. And he cannot say one way or another, but I do respect the fact that he understands from a business perspective, and he reacted much different than Cameron reacted a couple days ago on CNN. So Cube is always professional. He is always handling things with class. I don't think that he's ever going to take a position one way or another publicly because I think that that would be bad for business as far as alienating people that he's already started to become visible for the Big Three and the brand itself in order to try to sell more teams and grow his brand. So, yeah, I don't think that Cube is ever going to take a position definitively in front of the people.
Decision.
Jeff, any thoughts in your travels in terms of the community, the rapper community, supporting Trump?
Look, I think that people have realized that neither party really speaks for minorities. Maybe for the black audience, and it comes down to who they think will really help them on the issues that they care about. And I think it's underestimated how much people care about the economy. I mean, we all know people care about the economy and immigration, but I think people think the black community and the minority community is monolithic. They don't realize that people have a lot of different opinions.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. It's not monolithic, obviously. But let's get to your big news. A historic announcement for the Big Three League. You're selling your first franchise to DCB Sports in a $10 million deal. The team will play in the Los Angeles area. Cube, why this group? Tell me what the plans are for Big Three.
Well, this group is a great group of different individuals coming together and making great sports moves, and making big moves.
Read that super chat shortly.
This is one of them. They're invested in a lot of different other things too when it comes to sports. So Big Three is a great investment. I mean, there's nothing out there like us. If you look on the horizon, everybody's talking pickleball and this and that, and at the end of the day, we're the ones who are gaining the most ground. And so, it's a great investment for them. It's a great investment for us. We think Los Angeles, of course, is an amazing city, and it's a great city to start off with. But we're talking to groups out of Toronto. We're talking to groups out of London, Dallas. It's pretty exciting around the Big Three brand right now.
Yeah, congratulations on it. Jeff, when do you expect to sell all of these franchises? You said that you expect to announce 3 more ownership groups, home markets in the coming weeks. Tell us what this brings Big Three.
I think that we decided that, Cube and I and our commissioner Clyde and the other people in our group, we wanted a tight organization so that we'd be able to move and groove fast, make quick changes when it comes to marketing, when it comes to rules changes. And now here we are 7 years in. We have a beautiful game. We have millions of fans, and we want to let other voices in. So we're looking at people who aren't looking for teams as toys. We want people who have professional sports experience. I think that Gary, is great. He's involved in a lot of different leagues. I think when people hear the next 3 teams that we unveil before the season starts on June 15, they're going to understand the direction we're going in. People from the NFL, people from Major League Baseball, and having a group of people that frankly can tell Ice Cube and I, hey, you guys are doing it wrong. You should try this or you should try that. We want more informed opinions to help us. Mm-hmm. We want to get it right. We don't need to be right. Best idea wins.
I'm proud of Cube for being able to even make it to 7 seasons in the Big 3, and now he's finding investors because he's been basically funding and putting this thing up his entire time for him. How many of y'all actually continue to watch the Big 3? I know that it was a thing a few years ago when it first started and it had a lot of hoopla. I'm wondering how many of you guys actually have supported the Big 3? Do you find any interest in it? Do you think that it is a product that could compete long-term as far as the growth prospects and the opportunities that come along with it? Or is it just something that you just casually know about and you're not really paying that much attention to?
What about gaining more players into the league? Cube, is this going to attract more players, do you think? I want to get your take about running the business as well, because we talk all the time on this program about small business and the regulatory backdrop, how people are feeling about the economy. Take on that, Cube.
Yeah, it's a league that kind of started from scratch in 2017. We've been
a long time.
For 8 years growing this league. And it's been, it's not been easy. We had to grow it through COVID. We had to survive through COVID. So, I think a lot of black businesses, but a lot of small businesses, they all need a little helping hand to get over the hump. So, anything that could be done on the government level to help the small businesses, of course, is going to be welcome, because the small businesses are really what makes up American lifestyle.
Absolutely.
The big businesses, we all know the big giant corporations, but, a lot of them are global. A lot of small businesses, local people, trying to, get a piece of the American dream, so to speak. And, Big 3 is a great shining example of a growing league that's, now starting to, kind of, show our worth in when it comes to
move it along.
When it comes to having a small business and growing into a big business.
Shout out to Cube. I appreciate all that he does for and pitches for the community. I know some people don't necessarily care about Cube, but I grew up, listening to Cube and that death certificate. Dang, that sounds crazy to say, death certificate. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Cube, continuing to run it up. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to get to the final portion of the show. Ain't it tripped out to have this ending so early? Curtis Taylor says, go through a union or a non-union apprenticeship program for a trade. Don't waste money at a trade school. Unions will pay your way through that apprenticeship. Hey, one of the things that I did was when I got hired into the plant now, I wound up not making it into the, making it far enough to actually get there. But one of the things that I did was when I got into the steel mill, I immediately signed up to test for being a skills trade. Eventually, I was going to be a millwright. I think it's better that it worked out the way that it worked out. But yes, they was going to pay my way through school and I was going to be a millwright. So you are absolutely right, Curtis Taylor. Shout out to you to that good advice. Make sure you take his advice. Executive Suite MLE says, Trump is holding a rally in the Bronx today, my old neighborhood. Biden won't. Trump hitting all of the spots. Biden is at Trump 2024 Cube for the cabinet. Shout out to Executive Suite MLE. Jay Johnson says, hey, shout out to Limert Park OG Ice Cube. Yeah, Ice Cube is dope. Ice Cube is dope. He just talk a little slow sometimes, but he cool. Man, I want to interview Ice Cube. There's some people that I got on my list that I want to deep dive into, but we'll get there. All right, last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, a woman that has a decent amount of subscribers went online and made a video, and she said that she was moving back home with her parents in Chicago, I believe. I have not watched the full of it. I just watched a little intro, so I got a little insight into what it is that she was saying. But she said that, hey, I'm moving back home for whatever reason, and I'm going to deep dive into the reason shortly. And so the question that I want you guys to ask yourself as we evaluate this, and as we evaluate this video in particular, is how do you feel at your age, whatever age you are, if you're in your 20s, your 30s, or your 40s, how do you feel about the potential of moving back home? This woman's name is Paige Mariah. She has 197,000 subscribers. Paige Mariah, 197,000 subscribers. Make sure y'all hit the like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock out, y'all.
And when I share with you all this exciting news that I had secured this great job, I got quite a few comments from people saying, okay, so like when's the apartment tour coming up? We can't wait to see your moving vlogs, things like that. And I hate to break it to y'all, but you won't be getting that for quite a while.
All right, let me see if I can fast forward it, because I know she was vlogging or something like that. I want to get to the actual narrative and the conversation that she was having. All right, this is the part I haven't seen. So we're going to look at this both from here.
Sit down and chat with you all. I honestly feel like this is a topic that more people relate to than they actually admit, or share publicly rather, and that is moving back in with your parents after you've already moved out. Now, if this just happens to be the first time that you've ever come across my channel, then I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. I lived abroad in London for 4.5 years, and I recently returned a little over 3 months ago now. I am currently 31 years old, and if you had have asked me 5 years ago if I thought I would be back here, the answer would have been absolutely not.
London is very expensive. So anybody that tried their hand on living outside of the country and you decided to pick London as a location, man, you really, really stepped out on a limb. Shout out to Mr. Clean. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. You crazy, bro. But yeah, man, going out to live in London, you got to have a bag to be out there.
When I originally started playing with the idea of moving back to the US, I had been saying for the longest that I had no desire to ever live in Chicago again. I never planned on being back here. So I think my mind immediately went to like, okay, what other cities in the US can I see myself in? But then as the months went by, after many conversations, after a lot of just thinking and having like real conversations with myself, it started to become more and more clear.
Sound like more of a conversation with your budget, because see, the way that our checking and savings is set up,
that not only was I going to be returning to Chicago, but I was going to be returning to my parents' house. Sorry, y'all, I need to get my water. Okay, so there were like several factors that went into making this decision. I missed my parents a lot. And then on top of that, there were health scares. I started to realize that my parents are getting older. And I knew that I wanted to live closer to them. Another thing that I knew was important for me to take into consideration was the fact that I was planning on making a major career change. Going from being a full-time digital content creator to transitioning back into the corporate world.
Now, let's mind that out for a second, all right? Because the foundation of this whole conversation is based off of the idea that she wants to move back home, right? Wants to move back home. She said, listen, I got 197,000 subscribers. I don't know how old this video is. Again, her name is Paige Mariah. I like to give credit to content creators, regardless of whether I agree with them or disagree with them. And I haven't had any disagreements with her so far, but we're going to mine out the video. She said, listen, I'm coming home. I'm making a career change. I thought that this content creation stuff was hitting, but let me be very, very clear. It's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get that money for the rent. Listen. I know a lot of y'all are a part of the Bag Chasers and the Patreon, and y'all seen my direct deposits, and you seen some of my 1099s, because I show all of my receipts, but everybody is not getting it the way that we getting it over here at the Bag Chasers. And everybody probably doesn't have the wherewithal and the work ethic. And so, popularity a lot of times doesn't necessarily translate into moolah, baby. It don't always translate. It don't hit that hard. It's hard. And I was telling y'all about being an entrepreneur and stuff. And so, some people say, and we've done some videos where people say, I can't work a regular job. Oh, no. And then you got people that's actually done it, probably successfully relatively, and, experience what it's like to be a content creator or an entrepreneur or whatever. And they say, listen, I want to get back into corporate America because it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. There's some stability there, it's whatever. And she said, listen, not only am I moving back in with my parents, but I'm also going back to getting a regular job. I don't blame her. Do what you got to do, baby girl. Do what you got to do.
9 to 5. I never planned to stop creating content, but I'm aware that my channel revolved around me being in London. So I knew there was a possibility that would affect my upload frequency. It would take me some time to figure out what else I wanted to start talking about on here. So yeah, to avoid a lot of stress in my life about, how I was going to feed myself and maintain a roof over my head, I decided to come home. Yeah, y'all, just to speed this up, it really just made the most sense for me to come back here. As I have said numerous times, I am so grateful for my amazing parents for even giving me this as an option, for saying, yes, come back home, take your time. This is a major transition for you. We're going to support you in any way that we can as you figure out the next steps of your life. So that was my plan. I was going to return home and immediately start applying for jobs in hopes of securing a stable income back here in the States.
That's as real as it get. That's as real as it get. It don't get no realer than that. Hey, listen. I want to go back home. I got to move back in with my parents in Chicago. I need some stable income. I'm going to start applying for jobs. And my parents said that I can come too. And so I'm coming back home. I'm coming home. Hey, that's one of my favorite Diddy songs. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming. I'm back where I belong. I never felt so strong, and I'm feeling like I'm in a cane. And if you're with me, raise your hands high. Hey. And if you're with me, raise your hands high. Y'all was feeling Diddy when he had rocked that. Hold on, let me get this up. I hear the tears of a clown. I hate that song. I'm really hold on. Let me get that song. I think her name was Skylar Grey. Skylar Grey was the name of the song. We might get copyrighted, but it's all right. Let me see. Coming home. Why did I put Drake? I meant to put Diddy. That's it. With Dawn. I don't even know if it's still a video up about that. That song was hidden. Hold on, let me see. Yep, that's it. Let me see. She said, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming. With Dawn Richard. Hey, how come Dawn Richard ain't never had no bad experiences? Oh, I can't watch it on YouTube. Oh, well. That song hit, though. From the Dirty Money album. That song got over 27 million views. Anyways, let's continue on with the show.
I got back home on like July 31st and I started applying for jobs about a week later. And y'all, I shared this, in a previous video, but the process went way quicker than I ever could have expected. Thank you to God, glory to God. I was able to secure a job just a little over a month later. So check, right? I did exactly what I planned to do. I moved back here. I got a job. I have a really stable, good income now.
Talk about it.
And when I share with you all this exciting news that I had secured this great job, I got quite a few comments from people saying, okay, so like when's the apartment tour coming up? We can't wait to see your moving vlogs, things like that. And I hate to break it to y'all, but you won't be getting that for quite a while. Like I said, I have been blessed with such an amazing career opportunity, and I could actually move out tomorrow if I wanted to and be okay. And as much as I would love to,
don't do it.
Let me explain to y'all why I'm not. As I've said about 100 times now, my parents are amazing, and they are allowing me to currently live rent-free.
Stack.
Obviously, I pull my weight in other areas, but rent-free, let me say that again, because they want to allow me to save right now.
Smart.
Living in London was expensive. Being a full-time, self-employed digital content creator was very up and down. So, in full transparency, I am very much like starting from scratch when it comes to saving again. I lived at home before I moved abroad to London, so I had a great deal of savings when I left, but I paid for my master's degree in full by myself. I had to pay for myself to live out there. I traveled a lot. So yes, I am basically starting at square one. My current goal is to save up at least 6 months of living expenses, emergency fund, all of that. And then on top of that, I want to save another huge chunk of money that will go towards my furniture, my decor. Yo, I didn't realize, how expensive couches.
She just basically starting over. And she doing what I would recommend a whole lot of other people to do. Go home. Go home. It's hard out here for a pimp. When you're trying to get that money for the rent, it's hard out here for a pimp. Go home, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why y'all got so much pride. I agree with her 100%. I don't think it's anything that she said that I disagree with. I think that she could obviously, make some better decisions when it comes to where she's putting her money while she's there saving. She should be really, really getting rid of any debt that she has, if she has any. Making sure that she put herself in the best financial situation by investing in herself, ultimately generating a lot more income by going down a specific career path, leveraging the opportunity to get more visibility by making sure that she work on her channel, upload more often, all of that, right? But I don't disagree with her at all as far as the fundamentals behind why she's doing what she's doing and to do it successfully, 100%. I don't know why y'all don't want to go home. Now, I understand some of y'all going to be in the chat. I see y'all. Oh, man, but what if you ain't got no parents that love you or this and that or whatever? Or what if you pissed off or what if your parents is... Listen, there's special circumstances for everybody. It's always a special circumstance. But what I'm saying is, in a general sense, roommates, going back with your parents, moving in with your friends, stacking some money, getting cheaper housing, whatever you got to do to survive and then thrive, because it's not about just surviving. A lot of y'all are house poor. A lot of y'all can't even afford to put furniture inside of your place. Some of y'all got this big old house, or you got this huge mortgage, and you are one paycheck away from losing everything, because everything that you have is going over into the bank and the mortgage company, and eventually you're going to wind up getting foreclosed on. Anyway, some of y'all can't pay y'all property taxes. Some of y'all going without car insurance. Some of y'all is just poor because you're trying to maintain a lifestyle in order to justify your salary or justify your position, when the more that you make, the more that you start to lower or retract your spending. And then eventually you get to the point where you can buy where you want to pay. I don't know why y'all not house hacking. Do you know what group economics is? Group economics is what you basically participate in when you get married. You're supposed to be cutting costs. See, now we've changed marriage to be, well, I want you to take care of me and make sure that you give me a retirement plan. We don't help each other no more. We're not trying to add value. Hey, listen, parents can probably benefit because you could take a couple bills, but it ain't gonna be nowhere near as expensive as if you was living on your own. And so it could get relief on their end, and then y'all have some fun together and y'all have some companionship. And then you benefit because you don't have to spend as much money in costs. Daddy want to make sure that you get home because he ain't trying to have you out in these streets struggling. You know what I'm saying? You get your experiences, you get to travel, you get to live life, save some money. What you want to in a rush for to be out there? Why? So you can have some sex? For some box? Practicing group economics is putting yourself in the best position possible while also adding value into other people's lives so that we all benefit and we come up together. Y'all so caught up in yourself, so caught up in what y'all think that the gram is going to think and all of that. Man, don't nobody care about that. Run it up. Do the thing that's best for you. Run it up. I still try to figure out ways for me to minimize, well, maybe not so much now, but I used to try to figure out ways to minimize how much I was spending personally because it didn't make sense.
Sorry. I want my future place to be like better than I can even imagine. I want to be able to get everything that I want for it. If I see the perfect sofa or the perfect bed or the perfect coffee table, I want to be able to get it. So I am really, really, really practicing delayed gratification right now.
Talk to him.
So that I can have my heart's desires, in the near future. And do not get me wrong, being patient can be so difficult sometimes. I definitely never expected that I would be living with my parents again after returning from London, or living with my parents in my 30s. And it's actually just really funny, like how life goes, because I, just a few years ago, never even saw myself ever living alone. I used to always joke and say, I'm going to go from living with my parents to living with roommates to living with my husband, okay? I didn't like the idea of living alone. I never wanted to be alone. But after some of the living experiences I had, specifically in London, I have never wanted to experience living alone more. I can't wait to have my own space and to decorate it beautifully just how I want it. And as badly as I want to do this right now, I'm gonna play this smart, y'all. So that I never have to return home again. And honestly,
my daughter will always have the most ideal, comfy scenario for her to make sure that she's home. I have, everywhere that I go, I make sure I have at least enough bedrooms for my daughter to be able to have just as good of an experience if she decides that she wants to sleep there. Whether it's here downtown, she got her own bedroom. Whether it's out there in the suburbs, she got her own bedroom. She got her own space. My daughter is always going to be able to, I'm never pushing my kid out, ever. Unless you get married and y'all don't want to live with me or whatever. I mean, if she get married and they want to live with us, I'm cool with that too. We could just build a whole nother house. I can build a whole guest house, or I can build a whole wing. We can figure that out. But I'm never going to be the type of father that will push my daughter out on the streets for the sake of saying that you're independent, or when you 18, you got to get out, or make sure that you go on the college campus. No, stay home. Stay home where daddy can protect you. Stay home where I can still be your covering. Stay home where you still going to be here. You are not authorized to leave at all. Where it's not safe out there and these dudes is running around with rapist vans. So you stay home. It's better here. And my daughter ain't even thinking about trying to move. She like, why would I want to be out there in these streets? Y'all straight. Y'all straight. That's my job, is to create an oasis for the people that are under me to be able to thrive and survive. She can come stay wherever she wants. She can pick a crib. As a matter of fact, it's to the point now where my expectation is when my daughter eventually gets married, that I'll either build her a house or I'll just give her one of the properties for her to stay in, for her and her husband to stay in, depending on how the dynamics work. But my daughter ain't never going to pay no mortgage. For her own house that she living in, why would I allow her to pay a mortgage when I could just give her one of the properties that I built, or build her a new property on a piece of land that I own, or expand the property on the land that I own out there for a personal project that I'm going to do or something like that. Never. Never. She will never have a mortgage. She will never have a house note. She will never do any of that. She don't even have to pay the property taxes. The businesses pay the property taxes. 100%. As a matter of fact, it's a corporate place. It's owned by the corporation that I have that's inside of a trust. And you know what I'm saying? As long as she continues to work for me, that's one of the perks of the job is that you get corporate housing. And now we're going to look at it from a business perspective. There's no reason in the world for y'all to be pushing y'all kids out like that, trying to get them to be a part of the world so they can rack up a bunch of debt and then not even be able to be successful as a result of it. She going to work for me. She going to go to college. She's going to be home while she's in college. And eventually we creating a position for her because we teaching her every part of the business. We helping her to understand exactly how money works. And eventually she'll take over the company and we'll just move on and then she'll inherit everything. And that's just the way that it go. That's the way that it goes. So listen, that's my thoughts. I think that this woman is smart for moving back home. Congratulations to her. Smart woman. I'm never pushing my daughter out there. Y'all can push y'all kids out. I'm not. Mr. Clean in the building says, what up, though, Anton? What up, though? Do me a favor. Can you play that Farrakhan? One more. I don't have it on this computer. I had it on my laptop when I used to live stream over there. Love what you do, bro. I'm going to go and get that drop. Let me go and find Farrakhan. Farrakhan woman. Gosh, I got to find that clip. I got to find the clip now. I done lost it somewhere. It's a woman. I got to find that clip now. Y'all got me searching for it. I get it there. I get there one day. I will get there. I'm going to find it and then we're going to get it. Shout out to you, Mr. Clean. I appreciate you, big dog. GR's Infantry Pest Control is in the building. Says, AD, any thoughts on Terrence Howard's discoveries and his math? I've been watching that. I've been watching a lot of clips on Terrence Howard. I actually watched a lot of his interview on the Joe Rogan podcast Experience. He had some patents that he had on there that was cited by all of the major companies that he let lapse. I think that Terrence Howard is really, really eclectic. I think that he's smart. I don't think that he's the wisest person when it comes to some of the decisions that he's making, but I don't know. I'll deep dive into Terrence Howard. Maybe I'll do that on Room 9. I'm launching the Room 9 at the beginning of the next month. Curtis Taylor says, I don't know if I'm going to change the name of it, though. My adopted mom pushed me out at 18, was not prepared, but I took the licks life dealt me, and now I'm much wiser. So if you have this option, appreciate it. Shout out to you, big dog. Wealth Building Journey says, look at everything from a business perspective. PSA join the Bag Chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to the Chasers, all right? So we got after hours tonight, and we're going to deep dive, y'all. We deep dive in a day. After hours tonight, we're going to get it in. Thursdays is mine. I got to go and get my daughter out to the airport, so I'm a little bit behind, but we on time. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Started a little early today, but we get back to our regular time tomorrow. And then we're going to make some changes starting next week, and we're going to expand the platform as well as prepare to launch Room 9. You know what I'm saying? Greatness to Work says, this is why, and also the reason I support you to this day, no matter what I agree with or not. Instant 10 toes because of your view on family. Thank you, Greatness to Work. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the platform. Shout out to the ladies. Shout out to everybody that hold me down. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. Tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Tiege Hanley, 30% off, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, plus a free gift. And then make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit a like on your way out the door. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all tonight. Peace.